been drinking all this lean, I know I need to stop. Hopping out of stolen cars and we shoot chops and up.
Hello there everyone in YouTube land, beautiful people. Thanks for watching. This is Josh at Tryin' Tech, and today we're going to be going over the latest update on the Egg NS Switch emulator, which is version 3.0.2. They've added quite a few things on this one. This is the latest update of the last major update, which was 3.0. Main thing they added with this compared to 3.0 is they added in the ability that was in 2.1.8 to fix the audio settings if you were getting audio glitches. So if you're getting audio glitches, you can actually change it now. Fix some graphics bugs, mostly on The Witcher. It seems like the main ones, but I guess they cleaned up some graphics bugs, and also added a Vulkan setting, so we're gonna see how that works. But yeah, 3.0 was the last major update since 2.1.8, and there wasn't much that came out with that one compared to 2.1.6, which was actually quite a substantial update. But 2.1.8 really did not add that much in terms of anything, and added a bunch of features like no one really asked for, like VIP and all this stuff, and it didn't really add too much in terms of compatibility. So we're going to test this out and see how they made any considerable progress, and we're going to take a look at a handful of games here. First, before I go into the games, we're going to go over our general graphics settings here. So we have driver 615, which is the best driver to use for Snapdragon 888 and above. This system we're testing on is the Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 Plus with Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 and 8 gigabytes of RAM. So it's a more powerful system than the last time we tested, which was on my Snapdragon 7, Tab 7, sorry, my Samsung Galaxy Tab 7, and that was a Snapdragon 865 Plus. Sorry about that. Region Japan, that doesn't really matter. We have the default version of back-end audio on, game screen orientation that just has to do with which way the screen rotates, enable disk shader cache is turned on, enable video decoding is turned on, and full screen display is turned on. Everything else really just has to do with the way the graphics display. The games we're testing, Axiom Verge 2. This game did not play before on the last major update, before 3.0. Mary Skelter Finale, we've tested this one before in a previous video. If you haven't seen that video, check it out, where we tested this out on the, I want to say 2.1.6, and it actually worked pretty good. Mercenaries Rebirth, we tested this one. It worked very well last time, but it had graphical glitches. Demon Gaze Extra, we have not tested this one. I think back then the only one that was working was in Japanese, so we haven't tested that one before. Collection of Mana has not been tested before. Super Mario 3D World, we've tested before and it worked very well, with some minor slowdowns. We'll see how that performs compared to last time. Disgaea 6 we did not test last time due to, honestly, there was major graphical glitches and the performance was not good, so we didn't test it. Pokemon Sword we have tested before, and this was one of the best performing games on the prior version when we tested on 2.1.6. Star Ocean First Departure R we tested before, but it worked very well, but it had graphical glitches, and we'll see if they fixed that. And then The Liar and the Blind Prince, which we tested before and worked very well. So we're going to test these all out and we'll see how they work. With that being said, I'll be back in a minute. We're going to load up the game, and once we get the game loaded, we'll start playing. Okay, so as we get ready to load up Axiom Verge, I just want to show what pretty much all these games are going to be set under. If I've changed the settings besides these settings, it will be because it maybe has some crashes, and if it's anything else besides these settings, I will go over those settings. But for general purposes, these settings here that I'm using on Axiom Verge 2 are going to be the same settings used on every game. So, but we have enable occlusion query turned on. We have speed mode on, fast FB readback turned on, enable multi-thread shaders turned on. Now, the Egg NS developers have stated on their Facebook page that if you have the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 or you are using the drivers 615, which are honestly the best drivers for the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, that those will not work with this enabled, but I have found that all the games I've tested here definitely work with this enabled. I would say this: if you are trying to load a game that has been known to work on this version of the emulator and it's not working and you have a Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, I would say turn that off and then see if it works. But otherwise, turn on the multi-thread shaders. It does speed up your gameplay. With that being said, we'll load up this game and try it out. Okay, so far it's working very good. We are going to check the graphic settings here. Okay. Oh, I guess it's already enabled Vulkan mode by default. You can have dock mode, image enhancement turned on. It's a really crappy anti-aliasing method. We have display performance statistics on and GPU accuracy normal. Now, if you're getting graphical glitches, I would recommend that you turn it to either high or extreme. So yeah, I guess it just now uses the Vulkan mode by default. Okay, this appears to be playing pretty much stable 60 FPS. There's minor flickering in the background on the graphics. This is not really a very demanding game though. It's, you know, pixel art. (2D) graphics, so it's not that demanding, but overall it appears to be playing very well. I play this game, but half the time I don't know where it is I'm going, but for the purpose of this is just to show off the performance. So if you see me wandering around, don't worry about it. Ooh. Actually, I was supposed to stay up there, I think. Yeah. Oh, I guess I'd already turned that on. So yeah, that's how it plays. Minor graphical glitches, but overall this looks to be performing very well. So I'd say this is definitely playable. We'll go to another game in a minute and see how it's working. Okay, so the next game we're playing is Star Ocean First Departure R, which is a port of a port. This game originally came out for PlayStation 1, and then it was then ported to PSP, and this is an enhanced version of that port. Okay, so it looks like there's still the graphical glitches that it had before, where you see on the sprites there's kind of these like reddish translucent textures. In the overworld, it's 30 FPS. Yeah, so there's still like these texture glitches here, but it's still very much playable. Definitely seen some slowdowns that I don't remember seeing previously, but I also had to change the audio mode so it would actually play. I don't know, I might actually die. Alright, so in the level, it's 60 FPS. These are just like static backgrounds. And then when you go back to the overworld, it's 30 FPS. And then the actual levels themselves, like this is capped at 30 FPS. And the battles are capped at 30 FPS.
We have company.
Here they come.
I don't know. Not doing too good. I might die. Yeah, I think I'm gonna die. And I'm dead. I died. No, wasn't supposed to die there.
Look out.
Hang in there, everyone.
Yeah, I changed the audio mode, so this is definitely playing a little slower. But even then, I don't remember this having this many issues.
Guess it's over.
I also don't know if the screen recording's having an impact. It could slow it down slightly. So yeah, I mean, performance seems about the same, maybe a little slower. I will say this, I mean, these areas here, it's pretty much the same. Oh, gotta love old JRPGs where you had no idea where to go. Overall, this seems to be performing about the same. It doesn't seem to be really any different at all. Graphical glitches, it definitely needs some help with these textures, but the performance is still good. Playable, but not perfect. Alright, so the next game we're gonna play is Disgaea 6. This game, as far as when it released on the Switch, it's been kind of controversial for a couple of reasons. One, it was the first Disgaea to be in 3D, which I guess that's not fine. That's not a major issue. Eventually, the series has to, evolve. But I guess the reason why it was kind of controversial in this case was that it released pretty exclusively to the Switch. Let's skip all this. Okay, so in World 1 looks...
Come back anytime.
Okay, there's definitely some slowdown in World here, and there seems to be this kind of texture glitch, unless this is what the world's supposed to look like. I had this game on Switch, and honestly, it played so terribly that I just stopped playing it. I'll say this, as much as this has some slowdown here where it's playing at like 40 FPS, it is still better
Where do you wish to go?
than how it performs on the Switch. Like, a ton better. See, right now this is playing 60 FPS. The in-game world, when I was in the hub, I'm just going to say I remember, because quite honestly, I don't want to play through the tutorials. So yeah, this level is not playing as well as the previous one I tried.
Looks like it's finally time.
This is roughly around 40 FPS.
Smell you later.
I don't know if it's because of this fire effect or whatever. So, like I said, the 3D kind of effects on this game have not been as kind to this game, especially on Switch. And then on the emulator, it can kind of cause some issues as well. I will say this, compared to the prior version of this emulator, this definitely plays better. Although there is some slowdown that is definitely annoying. This is still less slowdown than it has on the Switch. And the other thing is, the prior versions of this emulator had issues with graphical glitches, to the point it was pretty much unplayable. But this slowdown is really bad. This is supposed to be at 60 FPS, and it's hovering between 35 to 40. I'll say the previous levels that I played on definitely weren't near as bad. Throw her up there. So yeah, I don't know if this one is quite there yet. I was hoping it had been. They have seemed to have fixed the graphical issues, but it is definitely very slow. I think I have to hit that chest to get the treasure. So yeah, I don't think this one is quite there yet. Just not quite. It's better. There's not the glitches that it had previously, but it definitely is not quite where I would say this is playable. So I'm gonna say this one still needs some work, but yeah, well, it's definitely improved. This used to have really bad graphical glitches where it was like this texture glitch and the levels looked terrible. And it played this slow. So now they've at least fixed the graphical glitches. So we'll end this one and we'll go into our next game. The game we're playing is Super Mario 3D World. Now, out of all the games that we have played so far, this is probably one of the more complex ones.
Super Mario 3D World!
Okay, a little bit of graphical glitches there when we first load it up. And seems to be some slowdown.
Oh yeah, Mario time! Woohoo!
Okay, now that we've gotten in the level, this seems to be playing at 60 FPS. There was a little bit of slowdown when we first played. Oh wait, hold on. I want to get that star. But in the level, appears to be playing very well. Oh. This kind of plays like Captain Toad's Adventure, where you're taking all these different angles to get through the level. Uh-oh. But yeah, I'll say this appears to be playing really well. Which I was kind of concerned about compared to how it was playing earlier. Hopefully I don't die. Oh, I keep falling. Just that angle of the plank. Thankfully they give me plenty of time. There we go. So what I noticed in this compared to the previous, one, when I played some of these, yeah, so when it slows down, it's definitely a lot more slowdowns compared to how it played before. But when it works really well. But it seems in-game it's definitely playing a lot slower. And I know the last time I played this, it was on a different world, but it definitely played slower.
Let's go.
So right now it's kind of hovering around 50 FPS, which is not bad. Not bad at all. Yeah, so I would say this is playable. The slowdowns, when it does slow down, are not that bad. It's at its slowest, it's about 44 FPS, and then it seems to be hovering right around 50. Graphically, it looks to be playing and working very well. So I'd say this is definitely playable. I don't know, it seemed like it performed a little bit better on the previous version. I don't know, the jury's still out on this, but this is definitely playable. And it looks really good. Okay, the next game we're trying out is Collection of Mana, which is basically just a pretty straightforward port of the Mana games, to include Final Fantasy Adventure, Secret of Mana, and Trials of Mana. We're going to try Secret of Mana this time. I think last time we tried Trials of Mana, the last time I tested this. Let's open the menu and see if I have a quick load file. I do not. Alright, so I guess we're playing from new game. Yeah, so it's no surprise that this plays very well. I mean, this is basically the game emulated to run on the Switch in a menu. So it's a 2D game. There's nothing really crazy about it, but yeah. So no surprise, but I will say this, there are no graphical glitches. Obviously the performance, it should be able to play this game no problem, because it's not really a 3D game, it's a 2D game. But doesn't appear to be any glitches, and it's playing smoothly. But I'll say this is a great game, and if you want to play it on something else besides the Switch, on a bigger screen, and you want to play the backup of the game you have, then yeah, this is, you know, this is a good way to play it. Do I have a sword? By the way, this game has like come out on multiple platforms. This has come out on think there was a port of this game. Yeah, no, there is. There's a port of this game on smartphone because I have it on smartphone too. But it's a great game, and this is a great way to play it. So again, if you want to play it, and maybe you want to play it on a bigger screen like this, then yeah. Trying to figure out how to get over there to the sword. I know there's a way. There's some way to get in there. Yeah. So how do we get in there? Alright, well, I'm gonna hit the quick pause menu there. We're gonna do a quick save. Now I'll say this is a good thing about this version of the game, because you can quick save it. Actually, I think you could do it on the mobile one too, but yeah, you can quick save it. But this one has all 3 games, so that's the other thing. But yeah, this is definitely, seems to be perfectly playable. Like, no graphics issues, no problems. Everything's playing 60 FPS. So we'll go into our next game. Okay, the next game we're testing here is Demon Gaze Extra. This is a port of the original Demon Gaze. It's an enhanced port of the original Demon Gaze that came out on... Well, it came out on Vita originally, then it came out on PS4. This enhanced port, I want to say, is also on PS4. This game here is capped at 30 FPS. It's a dungeon crawler, so it doesn't really matter, per se. Okay. Saw a little bit of slowdown when we first initially loaded in there, but now it's running smooth at 30 FPS. Doesn't appear to be much in terms of graphical glitches. Now, I think the last time I tested out this game, it was working well. I just got my butt handed to me during the battle. Oh, I have a heal spell. Probably should have brought my demon out earlier. I think we'll up her vitality. Ooh. That's poison. Oh, I can save there. Not sure I want to. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to save. Because even though I did really well on that battle, I did not do well on stepping in that poison swamp. No, hold on. Actually, I'll save right there. Make a separate save file. Okay, so overall, I would say this is definitely very playable. Plays pretty much 30 FPS locked the whole time, and really no graphical glitches to speak of. So I have to play it more before I'd say it's perfectly playable, but this is very close to being perfectly playable. Hello there, we're back in the game. I've been having some issues with getting the recording working on this game. This is Pokemon Sword and Shield, well, Sword. And we are definitely seeing some slowdowns here. Okay, there it kind of picked up. I don't know if it's being caused by the screen recording, and it does seem to have somewhat of an impact. Also, I was getting some kind of sound issues on this game, so I went back to the OpenSL mode for the audio mode in the general settings. I wish you could tweak that in-game for different games, instead of just one or the other off and on. But the slowdown on this compared to the prior version is definitely a lot worse. And the thing is, this game actually played really well. I don't know. I don't know if it's the screen recording, and I don't think it would have that much of an impact. But this definitely has a lot more slowdowns. And it could be me changing the audio mode, but the slowdown is way worse on this. Like, there used to be a little bit of slowdown on this game, but this was like one of the best playing games. And now it slows down to like 15 FPS. So this is definitely like, on this version, it's not really playable, in my opinion. Because it is definitely noticeable when you switch down to, like, you get down to 15 FPS. I can't skip this. Come on, Game Freak, it's 2022. I should be able to skip cutscenes. Graphically, this looks good. Like, the graphics look good. But it definitely performs far worse than the previous versions. And I don't remember there really being any significant graphical issues on the previous versions of this game, or previous versions of this on previous versions of the app. Yeah, so I'd have to test this some more. I'd like to be able to test it in battle, but right now it's so bad I'm not even sure I'd want to take it in battle. I'm gonna say graphically it's playable, but performance-wise, I don't think it's gonna be playable enough to really make this like a pleasurable experience. With that being said, we'll exit out of this game and test our next. Alright, the next game we are playing here is called Mercenaries Rebirth, Call of the Wild Links. This is the next, latest version of the Mercenaries Saga games. If you haven't played these games, they are like a more modern, well, I say more modern version, but they're basically just like a more generic, updated version of the, of really the Final Fantasy Tactics games. We're going to skip the event. Okay, this appears to be playing pretty much 60 FPS, a little bit of slowdown here. Very minor. But if you played like the Tactics Ogre games or the Final Fantasy Tactics games, this is like a wannabe of those games. Not near as good story-wise or really gameplay-wise, but you know, they're okay. They're not terrible. They're not amazing. They're just there. They kind of pass the time. I don't know. Like, honestly, I don't think anything will really stand up to be as good as what Final Fantasy Tactics was. But, you know, they're okay for what they are. So if you can see in the corner there, we're pretty much holding 60 FPS. Had a couple little minor slowdowns to like 53, 54. That was the lowest I saw. Really no graphical glitches. But something about this game is kind of inconsistent. When I've tested it before, it would have graphical glitches on the previous version. It does not seem to have the graphical glitches it had before. And it does not have the sound glitches it had before. But again, I think it's because we're running on the slower sound mode version. So this was a game that was getting sound glitches. It is not now, which is good. No, I'm just gonna wait. Okay, see, now we're starting to see some graphical glitches on that character. And that's what I'm saying is this game is a little bit inconsistent in how it works. Because it'll be working really well, and then certain times here and there, it will just get graphical glitches. I don't think I can poison this guy. No, I cannot. So there's no point doing that. See if that'll work. So overall, this appears to be working well. Gosh, it got really glitchy there. Holy crud. Like really bad. And I'm not even sure how to fix that. So yeah, there's some slowdowns, but not much, but the graphical glitches are really bad. So we're gonna go ahead and stop that here. Let me see if I can do a temp save. I'll do a temp save. Okay, and we'll close this out. But yeah, definitely some glitching on this one. Okay, we're in here. So I tried to load a video of me showing what I changed, but just a note on this game. So the default setting for this is AA audio. But for the sound to work on this game, you will have to change it to OpenSL, which is the slower version for sound. So if you find that you're loading this game and the sound isn't working for you, change it from the default method, which is setting in the sound setting, which is AA audio, which was in the general settings in the menu, and set it to the OpenSL method, which says slow or slowest. That one is the one you will need. One other thing to note, if you see here, I have the expansion pack showing up. This new update actually lets you add the expansion packs. However, it won't let you add the patches. So you can add DLC and that will load, but for some reason you still can't manually add in the patches. So if you want to play with a patch, you're going to need the patched version. Okay, so we're in the level now. I will say this, compared to the previous version that we played, when we played this, it performed well, but it had pretty bad graphical glitches. Like there was this kind of shimmering effect in the dungeons. Okay. Alright, let's see if we can skip this. We're gonna skip all this. There's a lot of VN elements in this game. This is a dungeon crawler, but there's a lot of text to get through.
Very well. We don't have time.
But this definitely seems to be performing a lot better than the previous time, where before it was having graphical glitches. It had a lot more slowdowns. This part here is not very graphically demanding, but in the levels before, it used to slow down. Now, again, I am using more powerful hardware here, but for quite some time, this chip has not performed much better than the Tab S7 in certain cases. But with this new Vulkan update, it is definitely been a lot better optimized. So that's not due to the graphical horsepower of the new hardware. It's just that. Okay, I'm trying to skip all this to show you how the level looks here. We'll make another save file because I would like to go back and play that story. Right now I'm just trying to show you how it looks. Overall, I don't see really any graphical glitches here at all. The shimmering effect, the kind of flickering effect that was in the dungeons on the previous version is completely gone. And this is playing at and holding a smooth 60 FPS in dungeons. So in the battles, it will slow down. I'd like to show, there we go, we're in a battle. Okay, so in the battle, it slows down to 30 FPS. Let's just go to auto battle. We're in an auto battle here. Well, that was quick, okay. So yeah, really, other than when it was switching in between, there's really no slowdowns. And this is playing very smoothly, no graphical glitches. I would conclude that this is pretty much completely playable. I would have to play it more to say it plays perfectly. Like I'd have to play all, emulator standards of perfect playability is a lot more. So basically I'd have to be able to play the game from beginning to end all the way through without any glitches, crashes, anything like that. And that doesn't mean slowdowns per se, but I would say this is definitely very much playable. So we'll stop this and we'll go to a new game. Okay, the final game that we're gonna play, I'm gonna turn the sound down a little bit on this, but is The Liar Princess and the Blind Prince. This is kind of an interesting game. Also, just to note, we went back to the normal AA audio mode, which is the faster mode. And this seems very... The sound sounds perfect. No glitches with the sound, no glitches with the graphics. And it's playing at 60 FPS and it's pretty much staying at that the whole time. Not that this is a super demanding game. It is a pretty game, but it's not very demanding. This game is 2D and I think it's all hand drawn, but I could be wrong. I don't know if it's like 2.5D where it's like 2.5 or 3D textures, 3D objects that are really drawn over with 2D sprites to be made to look like 2D. But I want to say this is all hand drawn. Either way, it looks amazing and it plays really well on this emulator.
りを駆け抜け、狼がその館に着いた。突然の来訪者に森の魔女が私を人間にして、
This is like you're playing a storybook.
面白いけど、今にも噛みつきそうな狼をさ。その代わり、なんて美しいんだろう。魔女は願いを叶える代償として美しさの隠し味は、お前にはどんなものが気になる。私の歌声を王子が褒めてくれた字は、私の歌声をいい覚悟で褒めて、プライドの高いお前からお望みの姿にお姫様みたい。これはだけどいいのかい。あんたのお相手も人間の姿じゃここまで考えてなかったのかい。ずる賢い割に抜けてるところのある狼だよ。狼の体に魔法の光がつく。あんたの歌声は確かに受け取ったよ。まだ狼の姿に何みたい。夜が過ぎ、館を、そうそう、月の光には気を。分かったわ。もうすぐ人間になって王子の手を。魔女の館を出て一夜が過ぎ、狼が、王子はもう目の前です。王子、姫は王子に声をかけます。大丈夫だよ、王子。まずは王子を折り。
Yeah, so the little bit of gameplay there was, it seems to be working amazingly. Like, this is probably So yeah, I'd say honestly this is playing really well. No graphical glitches, the sound works great, and it pretty much stays at 60 FPS. I'd have to play this like all the way through, but this seems perfectly playable. Okay, so that was it for our 10 tests, game tests that we tested out for everything here on the updated version of Egg NS 3.0.2. So what do I think? Well, so I will say this, this revision of 3.0 definitely seems a lot better than the first version that came out. Definitely seems to have helped with the Vulkan update. Definitely seems better that they have added the ability to change between the audio styles. There is a significant speed up when you use the AA audio backend compared to the OpenSL. But it seems like the OpenSL has better compatibility. So I'm glad they added the option to switch, because if you're hurting on performance and the game is able to play with the sound and support it with the AA audio, I would say use the AA audio. But if it's not working, sound's not working, or you're having issues with the game loading, I would go back to the OpenSL, the slower audio backend. Certain games needed that to actually get the sound working, although I think that may also have had something to do with the screen recording that I was doing, but it definitely seemed to have some issues. Some games would not support the AA audio backend, and then if it would not support it, the performance was definitely much worse. Again, may have been a factor with the screen recording, but I'm not sure. Overall, it seems like most of all that this update seems to have sacrificed performance for compatibility. While there are definitely more games that I was able to get working and more games that I had that were playable without glitches, performance definitely seemed to be worse overall across the board on games that were already working on prior versions. So games that were working on, say, 2.1.8 still did work on this update, but they were not as well performing. Definitely a lot more slowdowns, and when there were slowdowns, it definitely seemed to be a lot more drastic. However, I will say they have added quite a bit in terms of compatibility, the ability to now go back and switch the audio back in, and with the addition of the Vulkan mode, it has definitely helped some increase performance on a lot of these games. There are some games that have been worked very well on this update, and it has been very good to play these games on that, and that would be Super Mario 3D World, which worked very well, and it worked very well on the previous version. Mary Skelter Finale works much better on this one, so that's a plus. Now, while Mercenaries Rebirth plays well, there was a lot more graphical glitches on this version. Demon Gaze seemed to work very well on this one, and Collection of Mana worked perfectly, although there was really no issues with that game before. Disgaea 6 definitely works a lot better, but I don't think this one is quite ready yet. Pokemon Sword seems to have taken a hit in performance, and it really had no issues with graphics, glitches, or compatibility. It was very playable in the previous version, so I feel like this one has been kind of a step back. Star Ocean First Departure R has been really no change, and then the Liar Princess and the Blind Prince played well before, and it plays just as well or even better now. So I'd say there's a couple games that that worked well, and now they don't quite work so well, and I'd say that's Super Mario 3D World and Pokemon Sword especially. Disgaea 6 has gotten rid of the graphical glitches, and Axiom Verge would not load at all. So there's been some games that improved, there's been some games that played very well in the previous versions and now they don't play as well, and then there's some games that didn't play at all. And there's some games that have had no change. So I don't know. There's some things where it feels like they took steps forward, and then some things, it seems like the Egg NS developers have taken a step back. Again, I still don't think this emulator is quite where it needs to be. In terms of, like, could I recommend the GameSir X2 USB-C controller just to play Switch emulators? And I don't think it's quite there yet. And now they have another Switch emulator coming out called Skyline that is definitely seeing some promise. And that one doesn't require you to buy a proprietary controller for it to work. And it also doesn't require you to be online for it to work. So we'll see where that goes there. But right now, this is the only option currently to play Switch games on Android. This is Josh at Tryon Tech. If you enjoyed the video, leave a thumbs up. If you didn't enjoy the video, let me know what I could do in the comments below to improve. And if you want to see me test out more games on this emulator, make sure to click subscribe and leave notifications on. That'll be it for this one. I hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, peace.
I've been drinking all this lean, I know I need to stop. Hopping out of stolen cars and we shoot chops.